Dr. Simon Goddek, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, thank you so much for joining, man. I got like this teeny tiny podcast here, and you agreed to come on, which is a huge thing for me. So I really appreciate your time. A huge fan of yours, been watching you forever. So just really kind of geeked out that you're joining me.
Yeah, I don't check followers on podcasts. So just like if someone asks me, I was like yes or no if I have time or not. And I only check out afterwards. I've been on huge podcasts. I didn't know they were huge. I've been on podcasts that had like 10 followers, but like I don't care. Talking to people, you shouldn't check like how many followers someone has if you want to talk to someone.
Yeah, I
I mean,
agree, but
Joe Rogan would be a different story, but I mean, like in general, it's not that important.
I think that's true. There's a lot of people that have smaller accounts that really have some good conversations. But I will say, like you are I think only Zuby's had more followers than you do. So you're like number two on the podcast, man.
No,
It's
Zuby
really
is
cool.
awesome. I love
Love
Zuby.
Zuby.
He's great.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be spending a week with him in Vegas in May at Tyler Tote's retreat. It's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, love that dude. One of the most positive people on the internet. You and I, on the other hand, maybe not the
No,
most positive people on the internet. Maybe our
no,
function is a bit different, and maybe that's why I like you so much because
I'm
you
very
just.
positive in real life though. Very positive and optimistic. But like my tweets are like, it's like maybe my dark side.
I think so too, man. Like I just got in trouble tonight for it. It's like I have a pretty vicious defensive liberty streak in me, and it sometimes gets me into a little bit of trouble online. I think I'm much better
What do you
in
do?
a. What do I do for a career?
No, I mean like what do you do tonight to get in trouble?
Oh, I sort of called. It was actually Amity. I feel bad. Amity Lee. I love her. She's been on my show. Good friends with her, and I sort of called out what I thought was a little bit of a inconsistency, a moral inconsistency, a logical inconsistency around her pro-life stance. I sort of mentioned that things like state borders, like if you advocate for the government to enforce a state border, that's not exactly a pro-life position, right? Like because I don't believe it is, because everything that the state does is funded at the barrel of a gun under threat of death, like a credible threat of death if you refuse. And then also, these sort of men with guns will line up on the border and they will literally murder anyone who tries to cross, even if like I'm sitting on the other side of the border and I'm saying yes, this person is welcome in my house, they can work in my business, whatever it is. And my delivery was a little bit fucked up, I think.
That happens to the best of us.
It does, and I feel bad about it. But it's well intentioned, right? And I think you and I are not bad guys or anything. But anytime you
No.
try to advocate for liberty, it's a weird thing. I think there's something in people that reflexively, rejects some things. I think all of us, there's always that trope, like nobody's a real libertarian. Like all of us have got blind spots or things that we maybe are logically inconsistent on. And when those things get poked, we tend to get upset about it. Usually.
Yeah, I've also said like deport Ben Shapiro. I made these comments maybe on a daily basis. But it doesn't mean that I mean it. I mean it would be good for a country, but doesn't mean that I mean it. I mean, like, has his rights as well.
Yeah, and that's maybe where social media doesn't provide a whole lot of nuance. I said the same thing like 2 days ago. I think I said jokingly, my least libertarian position is that everyone who voted for Donald Trump should be sent to a FEMA camp, and I didn't actually mean it, but there's some I guess there's a feeling behind that. Like I'm kind of like yeah, you kind of get what you deserve, and especially a lot of people on the libertarian side that were riding that. And there was a bunch of people on this side that were like, hey, I don't know where you landed on that one, but I was like, guys, this is a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah, but you didn't vote for Trump.
No, I just certainly didn't. I don't vote at all, ever.
Okay, yeah. That's what I do. I don't vote. I didn't vote. I mean, like, it's like, what do you vote for? Pest or cholera? It's like, oh, what do I take? What's worse? I mean, like, but
Yeah.
would you if Thomas Massie ran for presidency, would you vote?
No, of course not. Well, a couple of reasons why. Like, number one, I don't think it's going to fix anything. And number two, I don't hate the guy. If Thomas Massie was elected president tomorrow, you know how quickly they would off him? He would be deader
Yeah,
than
of
shit in
course.
like
He
48
would be.
hours.
Yeah.
So
Faster
I'm
than
like,
JFK. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, no, I don't want Thomas Massie killed. I think he's a genuinely decent man, and I don't want him killed. So there are a couple of reasons behind that. But man, I got to ask you a question, right? I work in tech, and I've been all over the world, all over Europe. Netherlands are one of my favorite places to visit. I love Amsterdam. It's like one of my favorite cities. It's awesome.
Really, I don't like it.
Well, I
Not a
like
fan.
visiting.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the architecture, right? Like I love the
Oh, it's lovely.
history.
Yeah,
It's
it's
it's it's
great.
one of the most beautiful cities ever. The Van Gogh Museum, the fact that you can get psychedelics down there, you can get some magic truffles, go back to your hotel room, the Dutch Gouda, the
Yeah,
Belgian
okay, yeah.
beers and stuff, like all the things, bitterballen, right? Like those things I really love
You
about.
like bitterballen with
Oh, I love
mustard.
it.
It's good. It's good.
It's the
But you have to eat
best
it with
bar
mustard.
snack.
Without mustard, it's
Exactly. It's too greasy. You got to have something cut through that grease. But by the way, for the people who are not aware of what bitterballen is, it's like a beef ragu, like a gravy, like a thick gravy that they bread and then deep fry. So it's deep fried gravy. It's like one of the best things in the whole
it's
world.
not healthy. So
It's
you shouldn't eat
zero
it. But I mean,
percent
like,
healthy. When in Amsterdam, definitely have some. But point being, I'm trying to like roundabout get to the point, is that Europeans, in my experience, generally hate liberty like a lot, like maybe even worse than Americans do. So my question to you is like, how did you end up sort of adopting the ideas of liberty and being such a strong advocate for it?
I mean, I've lived in the States as a child and as an adult. So in Oklahoma and Texas, it's like, these people are more liberty driven. And when I was young, I was left libertarian. I called myself a left libertarian. These people hardly exist. I mean, like, how many left libertarians exist? But I believed that the economy shouldn't be as free as I believe. Now I'm like totally, I'm a free market person, but back in the times I didn't believe in the free market. But also I always believed in liberty. It was always very important. So I consider myself a left libertarian. I'm a right libertarian, just because I understood the economy, how the economy worked. I mean, as a teenager, you don't dive into how does the economy work, right? So when you grew up in Europe and leftist countries, I mean, like, they tell you the whole time, oh no, it's like a free market isn't good. So yeah, but I've always been pro liberty. I think it's extremely important to be pro liberty, and most young people are not pro liberty. They're like, oh, the state has to regulate stuff and all of this. But I think I've experienced, I was born in Cologne, Germany. I was raised in Germany and mainly in the Netherlands. And I still remembered that we visited East Germany, GDR, German
Mm,
Democratic Republic. Nothing democratic about it, about that
it
republic.
never is.
Besides the name, exactly. And I remember being there, and I remember we visited the GDR. I stood in front of the wall, and I mean, when you see it, and it was like literally my first memory as a child. You are like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I think liberty is important, and I always stop to this. And then I experienced, of course, the rise of the European Union, and they took all our rights literally, and they're regulating everything up to plastic straws, up to bottles that are not allowed to have a cap attached.
Love
Like,
those,
like,
the
like,
cap that sort of
please, yeah,
flips
it has to
open
be
and you
attached. Yeah,
can't drink it because it's like
yeah.
smashing against your lip. That's a abhorrent invention. Oh my god.
It's fucked up. So yeah, so I think that's what made me a libertarian. And I think my main impact was like I met when I lived in Oklahoma, Texas. I met American libertarians, that convinced
Mm,
me like that this is important, because Europeans, they don't care about liberty at all. They don't. I don't want to say they
that's
hate liberty, but they think that the state should regulate your life.
what's
And
the difference?
difference of what?
What's the difference between hating liberty and thinking the state should regulate your life?
There's none. There's no difference.
Yeah, because I feel the same way about Americans too. I get flack online for saying this a lot.
Yeah, many Democrats think so on a social in the social life, like, and when it comes to rent and all this stuff, and Republicans think like that the state should be killing people in Venezuela or abroad, in order to, protect the country before something happens or something like this. So it's like, um, so I think like Democrats are a bigger danger to internal liberty, and Republicans to external liberty. But eventually, when you cheer for a government that's not good for the people, let's say Epstein files, these are probably the worst people on this
Mm,
planet on the list, and there are still some people, big accounts, with whom I get along, by the way, on a private level, that cheer for Cash Patel every single day. And I'm like, oh, they like, fire this Indian.
I
It's
gotta ask you, man, before you get any further, what do you think is going on with the Epstein situation?
So what I think is it was an Israeli child sex trafficking blackmail operation, and they got stuff on Trump or whatever, or he's just convinced that Israel needs to be protected, and so he does everything not to publish it. And I think, Alan Dershowitz, and there were many other people who were literally on the list, and I think there are many more people on the list that are probably higher ranked people within the Republican Party, Democratic Party as well. And that's why both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, are protecting this. And of course, now Democrats are like, okay, it should be released. But if they regain power again, they will not release it ever because their own people aren't as well. And then Democrats are going to be like, hey, why didn't you release it? You were telling us like for 4 years. It's the theater. But the fact that the government is protecting pedophiles, that's all you need to know about the government. We don't have to go any further. The discussion ends here.
So you're telling me that you don't believe that Epstein killed himself and didn't traffic girls to anybody? You're not buying that from Cash?
No.
Oh man, I also have to defend Alan Dershowitz. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but he's addressed this directly, and he said when he was on Epstein's island getting massages from underage girls, he kept his underwear on, sir.
Yeah.
I will not have you defame or denigrate the character of the great defense attorney, Alan Dershowitz, who, by the way, happened to have his name circled in Epstein's Black Book. Are you familiar with Epstein's Black Book?
Of course.
Yeah, and you were that the House manager circled the names who were co-conspirators or clients, and Mr. Dershowitz was on the list, as was Donald J. Trump.
Ehud Barak.
Well, we knew that already from the whole thing around Virginia Giuffre, right? We got some very disturbing details in her book. Have you read about that?
I mean, yeah, of course. I'm familiar with the whole case. It's super disturbing. Super disturbing.
It 100% is. But the question always seems to be, is like Donald Trump implicated? And I think without a shadow of a doubt, if you look at anything that Whitney Webb has done, the reporting of Tara Palmieri.
Amazing reporting. Yes.
Fantastic
it's shocking,
work.
Actually. It's like if every American read that book, I think it's a land under blackmail. What is it called again?
One Nation Under Blackmail.
One Nation Under Blackmail. And, if every American read that book, there would be a revolution right now.
You'd certainly think so. I'm still feeling like I need a hot shower after I read both volumes. There's 2 volumes of it, and the first one was more geared towards organized crime. She laid a great foundation of the history of organized crime in America and sort of the confluence between intelligence agencies and organized crime, and sort of volume 2 is she went into the Epstein stuff in depth, in detail. And when you read that book and then you start putting together the pieces of the Epstein files, because this is not one thing. This is so weird. Americans are kind of dense about this. They think it's just a list.
It's just a list with names, and it's gone. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's so much more nuanced than that. And everyone's like, well, why do you need the Epstein files? We know who's on the list. And it's like, no, you need the source documents. They raided his house. They have just gigabytes of video files and photographic. They have all of it.
I mean, Pam Bondi said there are so many videos they have to check. She said it. We need to work on this. All these videos, we need to make sure that the victims are not being shown. No, they're like, there are no videos. There's nothing.
No, she did. She said, oh, well, actually, I checked it out, and it's all child porn. All the tens of thousands of videos were just child porn he downloaded off the internet, which it's just like they're pissing in our face and telling us that it's raining. That's the most ridiculous explanation that we've ever heard. Yeah. We know that this is bigger than that.
These videos don't exist, as in the videos don't exist from that mansion. I mean,
yeah, it's like, come on, man. We have the photos of the FBI. Those are public. Taking out
taking the stuff out of his mention
Exactly. The way the FBI works, there's chain of custody. Once you enter something into evidence, it's in there, and you have to have a chain of custody from the time it comes in till the time it leaves, which is why I think it's so disingenuous for a lot of Republicans now. These MAGA people are coming in and saying, oh, well, it's just a hoax, and Biden manipulated everything, and it's all bullshit now, and you can't trust anything. That's really gross to me, because I think what's happening is that these people know, because I watched these people, man, before the election. They were all about the Epstein files. You saw these people. They were rabid. They're foaming at the mouth to release everything.
Including Bongino, Patel. They were all about the Epstein files.
They made their millions off of that.
Yeah. The only person consistent, or the persons, MGG and Thomas Massie, and they don't stop talking about this, at least from the politicians. All the other politicians, shush. There's nothing. You don't hear anything anymore about these. But the Epstein, they all said oh, it's a hoax. Let's continue, right? It's just because Trump said it, and someone told Trump. And the question is, the person who told Trump to shush about it. I think it's just my opinion. I think it's Stephen Miller, but just like me,
I don't know who it is, and I struggle.
I think Stephen Miller is his handler. I'm convinced.
Do you think Trump's all there? Upstairs? I'm seeing signs. I'm seeing the Biden stuff starting to kick in pretty early into this administration, and that's a little bit terrifying to me because then I start wondering. We saw the way Biden degraded, and it was more a comical, kind of funny, sad sort of thing. The way he would like leave the podium and then sort of zoom around the room like a Roomba, not knowing where he's going. Like it was kind of funny. But Trump, I think
Yeah, or trying
him,
to open a door 10 times, it's like no, I think
yeah,
I think no, I think Trump is still for his age, he's still fit. I mean, like if you compare it to Biden. Okay, compare it to Biden who is unfit. That's the question, right?
yeah, yeah.
But I think he's quite fit. He knows what he's doing. What I'm missing with him is consistency. So he's meeting with Putin, in Alaska. He's like, oh, now I call him Vladimir. We're buddies now. And like 1 week later, is like, oh my gosh, I don't like what he's saying. We should attack Russia. It's like, that's not how you do it. I mean, like, diplomacy. I mean, we all know how the Ukraine conflict started, and Trump knows it wasn't Russia starting it. And then they meet up, and they probably had some good advances. And then he meets up with Zelensky, and then he's shooting against Russia again. If I were Russia, I would be like, what the heck is going on, and I think Putin tried many times, and I'm like, I think Putin's authoritarian. I'm like anti-authoritarian, but I think he's maybe not the bad guy as we're told. I mean, for Russia, you probably need a more authoritarian person. Like, look, it's a huge country. I think he's not the bad person. Especially if you listen to his speeches. He was speaking in front of the German parliament, saying, oh, he wants to. It was 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. He wants to enter the European Union or be part of the European Union. He's willing to change his legislative and the laws, etc. And he wants to open the doors. And Europe just said like, no, we don't want this because the United States doesn't want it and stuff like this. I'm like, this is so weird. And then now with this conflict, and he's like, I watched this. I was in the States when there was this when they met in Alaska, and I was like, okay, this press conference was so good, and I was like, hey, there's hope. And just like 2 weeks later, it's like America was sending more weapons to Ukraine. I'm like, this can't be happening. Whenever there's something political happening, I'm just like pessimistic because I know, if you're optimistic, you're going to be disappointed. The whole MAGA crew, and like as I said, I get along with almost all of them, but it's kind of a cult. People are uncritical, and then you see the huge accounts like I stand with Cash, and like 10 times the repetition. I stand with Cash. I stand with Cash. Who doesn't? I mean, Gunter Eagle Man. I mean, like he's a cool dude. He's super nice, but I mean, like,
Is he really? Like, I'm trying to
yeah.
figure out who this guy is,
No,
like, as a
he's
human being.
legit, and he's nice, but I think either he's naive or I don't know. I
I
don't
just
know.
can't tell if he's grifting, right? Because I get it. Like, you can grift and you can because and I think a lot of his stuff is grifting for sure. But I
Yeah,
know
but
that
they're
there's a
making they're
human.
making a they making I know how much they're making. Big five
It's
digits per month,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Huge five digits.
It's massive. I know it is, and
And
I know
and
that
they
the
only you only earn the money because the mega crew is huge. It's like you have this Groyper group, they're like supporting a specific person. Then you have the mega, they're supporting one. Then you have libertarians. Okay, there's not many. But anyways, if you're a mega and you have a big mega account, you post something, it goes viral right away. They make like 200, 300,000 views per post, and then they have like 100 posts per day, and then you get to 50, 60, 70,000 per month, just like at revenue shares.
man, I think Elon monetizing
I'm
X was the
three
worst
like
idea
compared to
ever.
this. I'm 3 digit at revenue shares. So I mean, like I could go for the grift. I mean, I could say mega, mega, mega. But just like first of all, it doesn't make sense. I'm from Europe. I live in Brazil. I mean, like I have my business in the States. I lived in the States, but like I mean, like it doesn't make sense to me. And plus, I don't. I have different values, right? So why should I act like something that I'm not? I mean, like I
Well,
know some of these mega people. I know they're not mega. That's the fun part. I know of one person at least who is not even close to mega, just like acting like it because of earning money. But I'm not saying the name. But like I know of these people. They exist. But I
no,
think many of these people believe it. And they're totally behind it, and they and if Trump tomorrow said again, okay, the Epstein files, we need to publish them, they would all be on board. They would all
100%.
board the train and say like, hey, we need to do it. And next day, one day after, would say like, oh, it's a hoax. They would all be like, it's a hoax. So it's I call it a right wing NPC. You
Well,
have
it's been really fun this term watching the MAGA NPC memes start to sprout out. The
yeah, yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah. But I mean,
swapping
like
the chip out.
the liberal NPCs are much worse. I mean, like it's a total different level, right? I mean, there are also right wing NPCs, like just like the switch, just like the chip out here and like it's something else with Epstein, and it's fitting. These people don't question their own party affiliation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, one of
They're
the
uncritical, and especially when they attacked Thomas Massie, they were all on board. When Trump wrote this, like, oh, we need to get this other guy, they were like, oh, Thomas Massie sucks, and now Tucker Carlson, oh, Tucker
no, 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 no,
Carlson's so
no,
awful.
no, not sucks. They literally co-opted Trump's speech, and he's a basically everything that Trump said about Massie, all of a sudden those MAGA accounts almost verbatim were throwing the exact same slurs and attacks towards Thomas, and that was quite an eye-opening moment. I'm like, these people truly don't have any sort of ability to think on their own, and are literally just reflexively respouting whatever Trump says. It's really
and
gross
Tucker
to
Carlson's
watch.
Hitler. Tucker Carlson's Hitler now. So they're all like, oh, he's like Hitler. I'm like, come on. You guys were celebrating him for like 20 years. And now he is interviewing some guy who has like a very strong opinion about a very specific group, but just like he's also interviewing others. And suddenly he is Hitler. Hitler, literally Hitler.
Yeah, and what's weird too is that the right up until this point has been, don't call everybody Hitler, not everybody's a Nazi, we don't punch Nazi. Like they followed that whole train and then immediately adopted the same rhetoric as soon as somebody who was becoming very popular and criticizing the pro-Israel narrative started getting prominence. It was
And they always, this meme, everybody I don't like is Hitler.
oh yeah.
And they were like posting it everywhere, and the same people are now, oh, you're an anti-Semite, you're a Jew hater, you're a Hitler. Like, what? Criticizing this cancel, or like Mark Levine today again, Ben Shapiro yesterday. They're all calling for canceling people, cancel culture. We need to cancel them. We need to get them off social media. And these were the people bitching about, oh, look, the left, cancel culture. So everybody should have a right for an opinion. But once it's against their cult, and I'll call the Zionism a death cult, right? Once against them, and the slightest criticism they demand that you lose your job, your social media, and everything. These are the same people. And unfortunately, many MAGA people are on board and saying like, yeah, they should be canceled. But the last 5-6 years during COVID, they were like, oh my gosh, the left is so evil. They want to cancel us. Now they are doing the same thing. So I can't take any of them seriously, to be fair. And I'm just laughing it off, It's just like, it's a parody. It's a parody of it's a parody of itself.
Yeah, and here's another issue too, which is going to strike home for you, is the whole COVID thing. What happened to MAGA about the mRNA shots and all the things around COVID? Like they have flipped 180 degrees on a dime on that one.
Like when they had this press conference with Albert Bourla, the Greek, the CEO of Pfizer, and they were like, oh look, oh, so good. And even when Trump met Bill Gates, they were like, oh, so cool. Look, he's controlling them. It's 5D chess. 5D chess?
And there's it's not even fucking checkers, man. It's insane to watch, and I'm really troubled by it, right? Because there's just so few people that seem to have any sort of consistency anymore. And I had, the lectern guy on, Adam Johnson.
He's amazing. I met him personally, and
I love him.
He's great.
He's a great dude, but he definitely educated me on populism, because I come from a time, like I'm old, I'm fucking 50 years old. Like I came from a time where it is super old, man. You could predict when like somebody would have like general beliefs. If somebody identified as a Democrat, you could generally triangulate them to some degree. And then the Republicans, you could sort of put them into like a, squishy boundaries, but it was just, relatively bucket that had a predictive value. Let's put it that way. Now it seems like it's all over the map. Like you can look at anyone who's a MAGA Republican or somebody who's the hardest left person in the world, and it seems like horseshoe theory almost plays out 9 times out of 10. Like the issues, they don't match anywhere. Republicans aren't for free markets anymore. They're not for low taxation anymore. They're not for, I don't know, seizing the means of production and nationalizing industry.
Yeah, exactly. They're for terrorists now.
Well, shut the fuck up. The foreigners pay those, dude. That's money coming into the United States. We're taking that money in, bro.
They don't understand how terrorists work. Terrorists, and they raise the prices. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult. I mean, like it's the better cult of the cults as well.
Is it though? Is it though? How? Okay, give me a dimension, because I'm looking for some reason
to
be like this.
So the worst cult, in my opinion, is probably Zionism, right?
But that's hardcore Zionism on the right. Like that is MAGA. MAGA is Zionism. I mean, there's even the memes, right? MAGA, MIGA.
Yeah.
It's like That's what it is. Like the whole Trump administration is
But I
run by
know,
the
I know.
state of Israel.
Yes, yeah. If you see it like this, you're right. And then we have Hinduism. I think it's a crazy cult as well, with
Oh,
the caste
really?
system.
Okay, you got to tell me more. So I work, like I said, for a multinational tech company, and I've been to India multiple times. So I'm really curious to hear your answer on this one. What do you mean?
You should talk to Indians about this. I mean, but they have a caste system, like literally who is worth more than others, and if you do the thing wrong, you get like literally reincarnated as cow poop or whatever. It's really wild, and that's why the rich people stay within the rich caste, and they don't want to have to do anything with the poorer people. I think it's quite inhumane. It's like, but I compare it to Zionism, kind of. You have like God's chosen people and God's not chosen people. Many of the
Mm.
Muslims, so they have like kind of three levels. Yeah.
Well, I
So,
got a
and
story
then
for you. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in person in my life. And so I was in Mumbai, and we were being driven around by whichever company was, taking us around, and stopped at a stoplight and looked down, and there's a guy sitting on the sidewalk with his legs crossed, and on one of his legs, his femur and his no, his tibia and his fibula were snapped and coming through the skin. Like I mean, his leg was at a 90-degree angle, was gangrene. There was flies on it, and people were
fucking hell.
He's trying to beg for money, and people are stepping over him. And I asked the driver, I was like, "Why is nobody helping? Like, is there?" No one going to help him. And he's like, oh, and he's from whatever caste, right? Like he's the whatever the lowest level. I forgot what it is, and he's not, you know, he's like unclean or untouchable or some not worthy of care or something. And I'm just watching this guy with this like 100-yard stare who knows he's going to die, and I'm just like, dude, this is ridiculous.
That's why I say like this is a crazy cult. And if you look into the history of the cult, why the caste system exists, but I cannot tell you this story to like 100% correctly. I was told to me, but just like look it up, and you were like gonna shit bricks. Yeah, and the last crazy cult is like for me, liberals, leftist liberals, alive people, like the COVID, like the pro-vax. Maybe that's even maybe it's the I don't know. Is it the worst one? I don't know. I don't know. They're all
I think
bad.
it I think it's too early to say, because I don't
Yeah.
think we have the information yet, the data to tell us how bad the COVID regime was, like what the
Yeah,
outcomes are
exactly.
actually going to be. Do you have any insight on that? I know that this is like right down the middle of your.
Yeah, yeah, of course I do. So I mean, like we shouldn't forget that it started with Operation Warp Speed, right? I mean, like this weren't the Democrats. This was Trump. And if you look into the vaccine side effects, I mean, like they're not that obvious right now, but the excess mortality is still rising, and the cancer rates are still rising. So there's this X account, Ethical Skeptic. Just look up its graphics. They're like based on real data, and it's super scary. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and we're like already long past COVID. And it's all started with the rollout of the vaccines. So there was no excess mortality between April and I think December
Right, right. But
20.
then I think some people say like, well, that's also, well, I mean, I guess you're right. Like, well, this it's difficult to slice the data because they happen, like the infections happened roughly around the same time that the vaccines came out. And so I could see people saying like, well, this is actually a result of COVID, and the spike protein
And
is.
that doesn't make lots of sense, because I mean, like we didn't see any excess mortality in January, February, March. We saw it in April and May. It's because of the fear mongering, and the average age of death was older than the average age of death. you know so people with so I think the average life expectancy in Europe was 80, and people who died because of COVID, and I say it's with COVID, were 82, so they got older than the average. And this excess mortality, this spike in excess mortality was in April and May, because these people were like isolated. They were afraid to death, and they died because of elevated cortisol levels in most cases. And then it went down. And end of May, June, July, August, September, October, November, even December, there was no excess mortality, even a negative one. So if you're in a deadly pandemic, you would see an excess mortality of 20-30%, but there was like a minus something
Right,
until
right.
the vaccine rollout. So actually, flu season starts in November, December. So it's like there was nothing. And the vaccine rollout had like a significant raise in excess mortality, which was super super scary data. And then it just went up until now. It went up, and the cancer rates all goes up.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too, and that's why I brought up to you, Dr. Jack Cruz in our PMs, man. Like he and Kevin McKiernan have been claiming that SV40 promoter is potentially driving some of that. Do you have a hypothesis around that or any views on
Kevin
that?
McKernan. I
Yeah,
work together with him on many topics, but I didn't come along this yet. No, I didn't. I don't know this theory. I mean, there are
yeah,
many theories. It's another one is that the vaccine contained lots of DNA. So Kevin McKern, I was with him
right.
in
He
a
does a
lab, and
genomic sequencing, right, of the
yeah,
DNA that was.
I did it with him in the lab together. So we
Wow.
went to the lab, to his lab, and we did the test, and we saw it. We saw it on his machine, and yeah, that's bad. If you inject alien DNA to your body, there's the immune reaction.
Right, right. Boy, I'm really trying not to get my account fucked up. I don't know if there's a chance for this episode, but keep
Oh
going.
no, we didn't even start yet. So, I think yeah, there are many theories, but at least empirical data shows that there's a trigger and there's an effect, and this effect is millions of dead people. And so that's why I'm wondering why Trump is meeting with Borla, with Gates, and with all these people who caused this pandemic, because
Well, he's a true believer. It's because he's a true believer, right? Like he's obviously got the financial interest tied to these big pharma companies, and there's obviously a bunch of money involved. But also, I think that he truly believes that this is the greatest thing ever. Look what I did. Like his hubris is driving a lot of
yeah.
this. He wants to be
He
the
says, "Look how
savior.
many people I saved." Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It is always I, right? It's my vaccine. I'm the father of the vaccine, and
Yeah.
he gets very upset when his supporters start being like, "Yo, shut up about the vaccine," or even people that are advising him on the campaign. He even said it at a campaign stop. He's like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to say this. They tell me I should. This isn't very popular, but I'm the greatest thing in the world. The vaccine's the greatest thing in the world, and everybody should get it and get your ninth booster." Like it's. I think he's a true believer because of his hubris and his ego.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. I haven't asked him yet. I haven't met him yet, so no need to meet him. Yeah, but I'm a bit, I'm a bit puzzled. So RFK is very silent. They're
Boy,
very silent.
that was a interesting sort of 180 when he entered as the
Yeah,
HHS secretary.
I've been calling him out since the beginning, and people hate me for that. But I went through his old tweets and statements, especially against climate change. And he was like, literally, climate change deniers should be banned from all social media. And he made posts like this, and it's like a red flag to me. And also,
Well,
his
I
wife,
loved his very first, I think it was first or second tweet as HHS director, is that he came out and said one of the biggest threats to global health is anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw
Remember
that.
that one? That was a
Yeah.
banger.
Oh, but he had this house party during COVID, and only vaccinated people were allowed to get there. So then he said like, "Oh, it's my wife," but I mean, like, I would separate from my wife if she did stuff like this. If I were a public person, she would no fucking way, divorce right away. So he cannot. It's super super weird. He's also not accessible. Like the whole COVID critical crew was like, and he was hiding behind, what do you call these ghostwriters? So he had like his ghostwriters writing the books for him. So I met one of these ghostwriters, by the way.
Really?
RFK didn't write shit, man. He had other
Interesting.
people writing this stuff. So for me, it was like a gatekeeping, especially against Fauci, because we were speaking out against Fauci, and everybody was like, "Oh no, but RFK wrote this book." Like everybody, But no, he already wrote this. I'm like, whoa. So I mean, like, I think it was. I don't know. I don't trust this man for many reasons. He also met up. Sorry, I've like neck pain. I was working out too hard. So he was also meeting up always with Füllmich, this German dude who's now in prison because he was literally asking for money from his followers, and he got millions, and he just bought himself a villa. So, and he was friends with RFK, and they always were on a show together. They were spreading like some crazy fake stuff, and I say this as someone who was like spreading lots of stuff. They were like literally publishing a video of a elderly home in Berlin and saying like, look, these people are like locking them in, forced vaccination. The only thing, the wall plugs in the video were American wall plugs, so it wasn't in Berlin. So I figured out with a friend. I was like, "What is this wall plug?" It was American wall plug. Oh my gosh! And there's and many of these things happened, and like as I said, he was totally inaccessible. At no point he was accessible, and everybody else on the COVID critical stuff, we could just like give each other a call, right? Not this man. but he had all the ghostwriters, he had all the financials behind him, and there's Brenny Vaughan, if you know her, and
Hmm.
she was the leader of Learn the Risk, and she's been sabotaged by RFK many times, heavily sabotaged, and she was one of the real people in California who was literally fighting this the vaccine narrative, and she always told people RFK is sabotaging me, and he was actively sabotaging her with the servers, etc. So I don't trust this man for many reasons. There is something off. So I could, for example, if I want to talk to him, like even before he is now an official person, there would be no chance I could reach out to him. No single chance. And yeah, it's weird, but I don't trust him, especially the biggest threat to climate change is not anti-Semitism and all that. I mean, like he makes. I mean, like he also always met up with Rabbi Shmuley.
Yes,
There's
I've
so
seen those
many.
pictures.
Yeah, it's wild. Sorry, there's so many wild pictures of him and Rabbi Shmuley, and also in front of a picture of Schneerson, Rabbi the Rabbi,
I've
and
seen it.
this guy is fucked up. I don't know if you it's you just look up what he's saying. Like there are two souls. There's a Jewish soul and the others don't have any or something. Like, and he's like posting in front of a picture of a man who hates us. Who hates us.
Do you think that he
So
knew? Because I looked at that photo and I tried to put myself in RFK's shoes, and I'm like, does he actually know who that person in the painting was? Because I could see the Rabbi Shmuley trying to intentionally pull him.
yeah, but like why would you meet up with Rabbi Shmuley?
Maybe you're interested in butt plugs. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you need the hookup. I'm not exactly sure.
Or kosher lube. I don't know. But everything with Rabbi Shmuley, starting from Michael Jackson and everything, so it's weird. And he's been on many pictures with him on many occasions. So it's weird. And knowing he probably knows who killed his uncle. So I'm like, this is
Yep.
weird. This is weird. So I'm trying to make a sense out of this man, but I don't trust him at all. And I mean, like he said, like when I get like not when he gets elected, but if he gets in office, the first thing he's gonna do is scrap this child vaccine schedule, right?
Schedule. Yep.
And he also said he's gonna get the pharma ads off TV. Nothing happened. Instead, he was now promoting some mRNA cancer vaccine, and like I'm done. So
Yep.
no more support from my side. It's not like that I ever supported him, but yeah, just before Trump became president, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Of course, I supported him. He made the statement, right? So I always gave him the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna support this man. So if he's really gonna is gonna do that, but like nothing, just big disappointment, just like be disappointed for everything. There was nothing where I'm like, okay, wow. Of course, my MAGA friends are like, okay, ICE, look, we are deporting all these people. If you look, like Obama deported many people as well. I think the stats are quite similar in deportation of people. I mean, please fact check, but I saw a graph. Maybe it was fake. Nowadays you never know. But I think just like deporting people, if this is the only thing he has achieved, I know I feel sorry. All these promises. I want to see the files of the. I want to see who's the pedophile. I want to see
Mm.
who was going after 10 years old girls. I want to know who these people are, so we can go on the internet and destroy their reputation. I want to do that. But no, they're protecting these people. They're protecting pedophiles. They're protecting people who fuck children. So I mean, like, what is worth?
And the scale, hold on, the scale too. I don't think people appreciate this. Like, for example, if you are aware of the case, the U.S. Virgin Islands brought suit against J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank for their role in sex trafficking, and there was over a billion, like $1.1 billion in total that was related to child sex trafficking. They got a judgment.
I,
I don't know if you know
wow,
this, but they
I
paid
didn't know.
out between J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank. They paid the
Deutsche
victims.
Bank is fucked up. It's already in the name.
These two banks paid out almost $500 million. Half a
Fucking hell.
billion to the survivors, right? And then everyone's like, oh, traffic to nobody. There was no victims. He just got them for himself. And the victims all are saying, like, no, I was trafficked to powerful men like Prince Andrew and Ehud Barak and all these other people, Bill Gates. And people are just like, shrug. Americans don't seem to care, which really
So if
bothers me.
there was no victim, and if they were trafficked to nobody, how did Ghislaine Maxwell? For what did she get into jail? I mean, like, if there was nothing there,
Yep, traffic
right?
to nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And then the whole thing was Ghislaine Maxwell is weird too. How people don't see this is beyond me. Maybe I'm just like really great
You
at
mean with
pattern
all
rec
her sisters being part of Mossad and her father, etc.? You mean this
as a
part, or
backdrop. As a backdrop, yeah. So obviously the whole Robert Maxwell thing flowed directly into Ghislaine Maxwell, and they basically picked up his operation, and that's all pretty undisputed fact. But I'm talking about what's happening now. So they go to interview. Right. First of all, they fire Comey, who was the actual prosecutor in the case, knows all the details about the case. They bring the new a guy from DOJ, I can't remember the guy's name, that interviewed her, and it was the softest ball interview questions ever. He didn't follow up when she said something that he could, double click on, and it was all exculpatory for Donald Trump. It was just all this glowing bullshit. By the way, she's been convicted of perjury already, and then all the MAGA people are like, well, she said that, nothing happens, so everything's good. It's mind blowing. But then, interesting thing is that birthday card came out, the Epstein birthday book. It came out,
they state it's a deep fake or something? But I mean, like, we
but
know
it
it's
can't
not.
be a deep fake because, and I get it. They initially said it was a forgery or it didn't exist or whatever. But then the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed the Epstein estate for the book, and it's a leather bound fucking book from the 90s. Right? It's his 50th birthday party, and it's all leather bound, and then Bill Clinton signed it. All these very powerful people signed it. It was all disgusting, and basically Donald Trump's entry was an admission that he was a pedophile. If you read the actual narrative in there, it's like, hey, Jeffrey, you and I have something in common, wink, wink.
Yeah,
May
I
every
see it.
day be another beautiful
Yeah,
secret. Enigmas never age. Like, it is just a gross
yeah,
admission,
yeah.
which everything in the book was like that. It was always this nudge, nudge, wink, wink. There's a giant check that Donald Trump signed, signing off like a used up girl.
I don't know that part.
Oh, you gotta look at this. It's great. It's like those game show checks, the ones that are massive, and they were on a golf course, and Epstein's holding it up, and it was like $25,000, and then the memo at the bottom says, basically selling a girl, right, from Epstein to Trump. And the grossest part is, if you know the story and the history, Epstein was very fond of the super super young ones. We're talking between 10 to 13. When he got to 13, start getting a little bit old for him.
Like Bill Clinton.
He-
I mean, he likes them young too, right?
I think they all do. But point is, like, Epstein liked them super young and then would farm them out. So that was the story. All the survivors say, like, he would basically keep them to himself and then he would rotate them out. Once they got too old, he didn't want them anymore. And so he would pass them off to other people. And so this check is literally him selling a girl from, Epstein to Trump. Trump is buying a girl for like
But I've
$25,000.
like, let's be devil's advocate right now. I mean, like, Trump knows, like, if this is true, if this were true, or like, Trump knows what happened or didn't happen. So why was he in favor? Why did he campaign with this? Why didn't he just like be quiet?
He didn't really. This is the interesting thing, because people say that. It's like, you campaigned on this. If you go back and roll the tape, he didn't really. He was actually somewhat defensive. And if you listen to Trump on any issue, if they ask him a question, he'll say, we're looking into it. Maybe he likes to throw out 5 different alternatives, right? And so if you listen to the responses, he says, yeah, I'd look at that. I'd consider that. And then I think even in some of these interviews, he even started changing as he was speaking. He's like, well, I don't know. We have to protect, maybe the innocent people that might be. And he just sort of never, ever, he was never the guy that was like, fuck yes, Epstein files, we're releasing him day one. That was all the people he appointed. That was the Cash Patels, the Dan Bonginos, the people in his orbit.
But why would he appoint those people who were like totally in favor?
Because I think that he has such hubris that he believes that he can control any situation. I think he believes that he can just bullshit everybody on the most outrageous shit ever, and he knows that he's got a cult following. To go back to our earlier part of our discussion, that there's people that, regardless, cognitive dissonance, be damned, fuck it, it's Trump all the way. We're
Trump
gonna own
2028.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking own the libs, and I don't care if he's a pedophile. It's totally cool with us. We now love pedophiles. It's great. It's. I think that he thinks that. I think that he's thought that he could slow walk it, and I think he got himself into a bit of trouble. I think he thought that he could throw out the binders phase one, and then if you notice now, the distractions are what are really telling. This is an important thing. As soon as that book leaked and that birthday card became public, did you pay attention to the series of events? It was the media cycle spun at a frenzy I've never seen before. Like the LA riots happened and they're sending in National Guard. And like every day was a new distraction. And then you had
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk and then ICE raids. Like everything became, I mean, Israel, or sorry, Iran. So bombed Iran. That was all after this stuff started coming out. When it became, I'm serious, go back and check my timeline.
It's no page 1 story. It gets to page 6, right?
Yep, and I think what you're seeing now is that he realized that if he waited too long between major news cycle events that he could influence, he would have to explain himself. You know, he had that real awkward press conference. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That's a desecrate.
Yeah.
And I think at that point he realized he was in deep shit.
That was super awkward.
Yeah, and so I think at that point he knew he had to go on the offensive. It's like, fuck it, we're going to arm Ukraine, we're going to bomb Iran, we're going to whatever with Israel. Doesn't matter for him as long as there's a distraction in a big event in the news cycle to keep it spinning so you don't come back to Epstein. And now look at that, our government's been shut down for almost a record period of time. Thomas Massie's discharge petition to force a vote on the Epstein files, none of the Republicans want to sign it. There was like only 3 other Republicans, all women, who signed on to that thing. And then everyone who talked all this shit about releasing the Epstein files.
I tell you something, you know, many congressmen are following me, right? So, and those who are following me, I sent them all a PM to Thomas Massie tweet saying like, we need just one more signature. Do you think any of them, I mean, they replied, but totally different topics.
Okay, I got to ask a question then. So you can tell me, you can fuck off. It's none of my business, but I want to know because he's in my state representative, Tim Burchett. Is he part of this?
I no, Tim, no.
Okay, well, I've got such a beef with Tim Burchett. Like he was literally banging the table. Pam Bondi, release the goddamn files, and we should publicly execute the Epstein clients. And he's going off the rails.
Yeah,
and soon as
super quiet since.
Shut the fuck up as soon as Thomas Massie's discharge petition was released and Trump said it's a hostile act for anybody to support the release of the Epstein files. And I'm just like, dude, like, and he's held up as like this. He's been on Tucker and he's like this, oh shucks, I've got a donkey and I have a skateboard company. It's just gross, man. Like all these people, I don't have the slightest bit of respect for any of these people other than Massie and the people that signed that discharge petition. MTG, Lauren Boebert, and I think Nancy Mace, the only Republicans that defected on that one. It's fucking crazy.
No, I have lots of respect for MTG, and we have some good conversations as well. So she's a very good person, I think. She's legit, right? So she's speaking her mind, and I mean, like, I don't have to agree with her on everything, but I think she's a good person.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like you have to be a good person if Laura Loomer attacks you.
That's a pretty good litmus test, right? Well, hey, we're getting a little bit short on time, and I really wanted to focus on something super important to me, right? Because I am constantly in conversations with people about trying to advance liberty, right? And I think I'm at this point where you kind of can't. I think the Americans are kind of like the Europeans now. They kind of hate liberty because it comes with responsibility. And I love your story that you basically pieced out to the jungle in the middle of Brazil and are homesteading, right? And I'm actually in the process of doing that right now in Tennessee, moving to an off-grid homestead with some acreage and preparing for the end of the world. So I think that's key for liberty. And I think liberty should be primarily focused. I think there's concentric circles, but the middle one, being yourself and your family, is the most important. And I think it's the one that most libertarians are not doing. They want to argue with people about what, minarchism versus anarchism and what are we going to do about this and political. And it's like, dude, how about you fucking free yourself first? I think that this is something that you got right. So I want you to tell me your perspective about that generally.
No,
and
it's
also
so funny. It's really literally like, oh, minarchism. I'm a voluntarist, and then there are these discussions. Yeah, you totally get it. So I think to free yourself, you have to be independent from the government, right? So get some offshore companies, right? So there's the first, get a company at a place where you don't have to pay taxes. That's like the first step. Second is like do homesteading. Be self-sufficient. I mean, like create your own electricity, get your own water, have a good energy mix, and then you can take it from there. So for example, right now, I mean, like people can't cancel me. They can't. I mean, like I've been canceled so many times. Right now, I'm just like here. I don't even have water access, no electricity access, because I just like create everything myself. Because they could cancel me with this. Because they're like, okay, we're gonna switch off your electricity. We're gonna turn off your water. Yeah, they can't. I mean, like even where I'm living here, the land, it's like, it's rural land. It's not registered in a central registry. So the Brazilian government doesn't particularly know that I live here. It's just like my municipality that knows that I own this land. Of course, if they want to find me, they find me. They just see like, okay, Simon, Starlink, IP, where is he, right? But I mean, like, still, I'm very independent, to the highest degree possible. I have a more modern car, a Ford, and I have like a very old car, Volkswagen Beetle, 50 years old, that runs even on ethanol. So I mean, like, I always have a plan B for everything. Yeah, but of course, you have to make money somehow. So I'm lucky I have many followers and I get some ad revenue share. Unfortunately, it's just like 3 digits, but I mean, like twice a month, so it helps. It helps. I have my vitamin D company, my startup. I think like 100 subscribers. It's not a lot, but it helps. So I have a decent salary for Brazil. In the United States, I wouldn't make it, but for Brazil, I can make it. And I mean, like, the only things I have to buy is literally, yes, raw milk meat down the mountain at the farmers, and I have very low bills right now. So of course I'm constructing a huge chicken coop of 400 square feet. So I mean, like, I'm the money I'm earning, I'm using to improve this, my place. But I think this is liberty, this is freedom that I have here. So there's nobody from the government who can knock at my door, because getting to my place, I mean, like, they would have a four. They need to get a 4x4, like an all-wheel drive car. The Brazilian government doesn't have the money to have all four-wheel drive cars, so I mean, like, they wouldn't even get here. I mean, I made one tweet. The only ever. I just got one letter here at my place down the mountain. So I live up the mountain, and down the mountain's like, it's like almost a mile down the mountain, right? And there's a gate, a small gate. The only letter I ever got there was Jehovah's Witnesses.
They find you
They
everywhere.
they found my place. Nobody finds
Crazy.
it, and they found it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm terrified. So I mean, this is the only letter I ever got here. The only one. All the others get like, I've like a safe kiosk, in the next village, which is like 40 minutes by car, so it's far. And there's a safe kiosk, like a small shop, and they receive my letters, my whatever. Yeah, and I buy from them whenever I need something. So but Jehovah's Witnesses got here. So I mean, like, I'm free. There's nothing disturbing me. There's no crazy 5G stuff, Wi-Fi networks, just like my own Wi-Fi network, which gets turned off when I sleep. And I don't have tap water with fluoride and hormones. I'm eating the food I grow myself, and yeah, and I can wake up in the morning whenever I want. It's like, that's freedom. You go to bed whenever you want, you wake up whenever you want, and you do whatever you want. I wake up tomorrow and I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Like, probably working outside, probably doing some emails, but I mean, like, I don't know yet. So that's freedom, when you can really decide what you want to do, and nobody's controlling you and saying what you need to do. And you already know, okay, next week I have to do this and this and this because my boss, the government, Yeah. But of course, there are also some downsides. Of course, I have a bank account, and like, they can debank me. My wife has a bank account. They will not debank her. She's a lawyer. They don't do that. But I mean, like, in Brazil, they're moving away from real money as well. So it's a bit scary. So at some point, they already control all micro transactions, because everybody's paying with a mobile phone. Nobody's paying credit card and all these. No, everybody's paying with their phones, and you do microtransactions with your phones with a system called Pix. And yeah, the government is everything above, I think, $150. They're registering, and they later check, and yeah, it's a tax declaration. This is the scary part. But here, for example, so whenever I buy raw milk, I bring eggs down the mountains. I have 40 chickens, so I mean, like, I got many eggs, and I get raw milk, and nobody can control this, right? So if I pay with eggs, nobody can control this. So we do lots of this kind of stuff. So like, we give you this, and just like the old school trading. So 50% of what I do is old school trading.
That's super cool. And I think this trend needs to expand in the liberty movement. I think there's a lot of people, particularly in America, who want things that maybe they shouldn't. That they look at something that's a modest life like that, that's a simple life, where you're self-sufficient, but you don't get the flashy SUV or sports car, and you don't have the boat, and you don't have the whatever thing that you're selling your soul to your corporation for a paycheck. I think people don't want that, or they haven't historically, but I think they will. And I think they could. And I think more people like you need to have their voices amplified and talk about this. I think Massey's great about this, right? Like, I fucking built his home with his hands, with wood from his property. Like, I think that's a great example to set.
I'm
But
doing the
God,
same here. I'm doing the same here.
hell yeah. Yeah, there's so few.
I make bricks. I make my own eco bricks. Like they're called eco bricks, but they're just like here some cement. Okay, I buy the cement, but it's like 10% of the mixture, and the rest the red dirt. And I make my own material here. So that's the way to go. And I think like it's cheap, and also labor here in Brazil is quite cheap. So whenever I get some labor, I know people here from the small village, and they are good workers. I mean, like, what do I pay per day? Per day, I maybe pay $30, 10 hours of work,
Wow.
and for them it's a lot. I pay double. I already pay double because I want them to think, oh, like this foreigner, he's awesome.
Yeah, right.
So I pay them $3 per hour. $1.50 is normal. So yes, and they're going to help me out. We are constructing stuff, and I'm working myself. It's not just like I'm commanding. No, we really work myself. And whenever like there are weeks I just work myself. I just continue doing stuff. And I think this is the way to go. And what I'm trying right now is to kind of I have Monero, I have Zano, like the privacy coins,
Mhm.
and Zano is still in the coming. So, but I'm supporting them because they have a very nice and very awesome idea. And otherwise, there are many places that accept Monero, even here in Brazil. So, I enjoy paying with these kind of currencies because that way the government will never know when payments are made.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I don't know if you know Amir Taki, but I had him on the show, and I'm huge into the whole privacy aspect of crypto. And I think this is where the traditional Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever, they really fall down is
Yeah,
really on the privacy and everything being tied to an exchange. I know you have these dexes now where you can anonymously exchange, which is super cool, at least between cryptocurrencies. But man, I think that's the future. I think what you're doing is exactly the right thing, and I think more people are going to follow. I think you're way ahead of the curve. Well, dude, we're very much at time here, which breaks my
yes.
heart because I've been having a great conversation. I would love to have you back sometime, man. Super appreciate your time, and I'm really happy to see somebody like you setting this example in the world. We need more of you.
Thank you.
All right, well, why don't you tell people who may not know where to find you online where they can find you?
Oh, just like type in my name on X, and then you find me. I'm not on any Zuckerberg media, so I'm just like on X. And on Telegram, you find me with just my surname, but I'm not very active on Telegram.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Have a good evening.
Thanks for having me.